Alright, so Zootopia 2 is filled with so many big surprises and the moments which are wrapping around Wildehops. So I was wondering why not bring a bunch of best moments which are making this movie a real masterpiece. From the confession of Nick to the final battle of Pobert, I'm gonna show you the recaps and we'll talk about why each of these are really special in their own way. So without wasting your time, I'm your host Aryan here to show you a lot from Zootopia 2. Hit the like button, do subscribe, and let's begin. Prison escape. Alright, so the prison break is a moment which can be referred as one of the most important part of the sequel, right? Reason being quite simple. Judy Hopps was dying from venom and Gary himself was in some real danger. Nick was in the prison with no escape and we were about to watch a really darker twist of events. Then comes your Nibbles, who was so sure of her friendship and luckily she helps Nick in escaping the prison. But do you know what exactly is making this moment even better? It's your bellwether.
Hello, Nicholas. I hope you like my new home. I wove it with my own wool.
She's making a return, and while Prison Break is a funny way of Nick to escape, it was also an important part which can set up Zootopia 3. That's because Bellwether is now back and she's free as well. So yes, no wonder if we see an epic battle in the third film. Zoo. Of course, if we are talking about Zootopia, then how can we skip the importance of Gazelle, right? She's having a whole different fan base who keeps swooning over her classy moves, and this time, it's her new song, Zoo, which is happening in the mid-credits of the movie. The song features so many animals and this was one of the toughest sequences to animate itself. The confession. So we are getting so many moments of Wildehops during the entire run of the sequel, but one such moment is when Nick is confessing his words. Although people might argue on the way by which he's saying those words, but there are many scenes which confirm that things are now simply more than just a friendship between them.
Love you, partner. Oh, I'm gonna need that back.
I'll give it back to you after our next case.
This specific sequence is happening by the end where Nick is gifting a carrot pen and is casually joking around with his words. However, the expressions are enough to speak a lot on the blossoming tension between the dynamics of Wildehops. Now, some people are really angry because they believe interspecies is not possible, but they keep forgetting that we are watching a Disney movie where everything is possible. If not, then a bunny and the animal can never walk on two legs itself and a horse can never be a mayor as well. So yes, Wildehops is moving forward and it's almost an official canon by now anyways. Before moving forward, you hit the like button, do subscribe if you're enjoying this video and tell me if you're team Nick or team Pobert. Pobert's betrayal. So one of the most shocking factor of the sequel is happening by the end of Zootopia 2. Pobert, a character who was looking friendly enough for the whole movie, finally came out as a villain of the sequel. The fact how he was able to hide behind a facade of innocence is something which makes his character arc even clever. While he was a villain, I agree, we should not forget the fact how villains are not born, they are made. So for Zootopia 2, Pobert was a victim of his own family. He was loyal, he was funny, and he was brave and clever itself. But he was finding a validation from his family and it took control over his mind, which ended up making him a twisted villain. Not only he injected Judy with the venom, he was about to bring one of the most darkest moments of the history of animation by killing both of the main characters by himself. The fact how he waited to bring Gary to a cold weather is enough to show his planning, because he knew that he can inject Judy but Gary would save her if he will do so in a hot place. Because the snakes are cold-blooded animals, so that's why he waited to bring them into snow. The final fight. How can I leave the final battle? Right? Now that the twist of Pobert is something none of us was expecting, it's the final battle which defines the character arc of Nick Wilde. Judy was dying from venom and Gary was helpless himself. Nick was in the prison and we were about to witness a sad ending. That's when Nick decided to say how Judy is worth dying for. It's the most intense and the most iconic moment of Disney movies because the level of character development of Nick is really intense. Not only he's saving Judy, but he's overcoming his fear and trauma of childhood. Not just he agreed to go on the mission despite having negative thinking at the very beginning, but he completely gave himself away for Gary and reptiles.
You know, this is not your worst idea.
Wow, that was almost a compliment.
And a character who once was just a sly fox was now a partner who confessed everything, not from the words but from the accents. It's enough to show and prove why Nick Wilde is now among one of the most prominent and iconic ideal character for the young minds. And the final fight is a proof of his braveness. So of course, he indeed was supposed to be on the top of the charts. The post credits. Now that we are already at the end of the sequel, why not put the post credits at the top, right? Nick gifted a carrot pen which was having a secret confession which soon becomes a favorite thing of Judy Hopps. Not just he is accepting the gift but is also playing the recording over and over again. Not to mention the expressions once again, which are more like someone who is lost in the words or just can't help but keep playing it without even realizing.
Love you, partner. Love you, partner.
Hey, buddy, you gonna keep playing that all night? Leave her alone. She's proud of herself, but still.
We're investigating a rabbit who strangled her neighbors.
You offended her. You offended her.
It's a solid answer which marks the growing chemistry of Wilde Hopps and how they started as two opposite creatures and are now moving towards being a couple.
Huh.
It's the Zootennial Gala. A bunny comes prepared. You know, I used to dream of infiltrating a place like this.
You know, this is not your worst idea.
Wow, that was almost a compliment.
What makes this scene even more important is the feather of a bird. Yes, it's a direct confirmation that says birds are gonna be the one to appear in Zootopia 3. While we have seen almost every other type of creature, birds are the one which can bring a whole new perspective, which can even surpass even the story of Gary himself.
Inspector, what do? Ensure that nothing illegal gets smuggled here in one of these cargo containers?
You are right, sir. I guess we should have thought this through. Right, babe? Right, babe? Right, babe?
They can be an explorer looking around for the two officers for asking for help, and maybe we can even explore a whole new world of birds which were having even a darker history than Gary. On the other hand, they can be a villain lurking around from the corner and waiting to spot the weakest moment for attacking on the city of Zootopia. Either way, Zootopia 2 is a masterpiece, and now I'm leaving it up to you to decide if Wilde Hopps is confirmed to be a canon or not. For me, they are, but I'm gonna read your comments, so drop it below and hit the like button. Do subscribe as I brings you daily movie content. I'm your host Aryan. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Peace out.